tournament was even seeded, we had to make our prediction so they can make that lovely graphic for us. But we're getting into Stingray and Raydish here. We have some 7. We have Red Raptor. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Do we have, like, what's the history between these two? How often have they fought? Actually, quite a lot in terms of 7 matches total, and it's actually going to favor Raydish 4 sets to 3, and then the games are 14 to 13. So when these guys play, they're going the distance. It's the game 3s, it's the game 5s.
And that's kind of like how today has gone, right? It's been a lot.
It's been a long day.
Game 5s.
We'll see what kind of matchup experience Raydish has against the different signature kit that Stingray brings out with 7. We saw a little bit of it earlier, mostly the spear side signature, a little bit of the cannon in sig, and then of course the down sig sometimes to modify those spear signatures so we can get that little flame trail on the side sig.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 big sigs that Stingray's really using as like aggressive sigs are the cannon down sig and the spear side sig. Those are the 2 that I've been seeing the most, but the neutral sig from Raydish is the one we got to highlight because that's the one that catches Stingray on the dodge through.
Now, Raydish doing a great job finding that KO very early. It was a little bit over a minute, so not necessarily the quickest. Okay, now he's bringing the pressure. Not necessarily the quickest in terms of time, but the fact that he only took maybe about 100 damage on his stock by the time he got it. That was fantastic pacing. Now, all of a sudden, Stingray's starting to turn things up just a little bit as Raydish is in red. He is in KO damage, potentially, depending on which move that Stingray finds. Got under and under space that side air. That time, there was a connection. See if he follows it up, just gets above it.
Really good jump from Raydish to get just high enough to avoid that side air coming out from Stingray. Now he's over to the cannon. There's that down signature,
Whoa,
but Raydish,
I didn't know that you can kind of steer that a little bit.
Yeah.
You saw the way he faded back to get away from Raydish. He did it again right there. I've never really noticed that until just now.
Got past the ground pound. He's going to turn it around into that down air. Yeah, this is something I call that with PJ, though, is like he's using that down sig really far away as kind of like a bait tool. And he's saying, like, come at me, and then I'll be in the air to try to counter punish.
There's the side light into the weight. Doesn't immediately chase hard after Raydish. There's the side light. He doesn't go for the double side light. Just went for the jump nair. Now stuck over on the wall. Exclamation points coming out. Gets back, but then fades over. Stingray's always good at fading back away from his opponent. Feinting like he's coming forward and then moving away.
Yo, that was a hot moment of neither one of them attacking. Just jumping around each other.
It was a hot moment of cold gameplay.
Yeah.
It was a cold war between these two players. Neither one wanting to make the move. Neither one wanting to launch those nukes because of mutually assured destruction between the two of them.
Unfortunately for Stingray, the destruction only happens one direction as Raydish does knock down that second stock. And once again, Raydish put in this position where he has to finish off the stock of Raydish.
Nice little bonk.
Ooh.
Make sure he still puts out a presence there, but disengages, goes back over towards the cannon.
Dare, not going to quite do it. This KO tool. It's going to be the Nair coming out from Stingray. Now, what's his weapon? It's going to be all about that cannon.
Now, you saw that neutral air pickup, and he did it very low to the ground. Like, his hurt box was almost, like, literally touching the ground. That caught, like, a high but low recovery from Raydish. He didn't go, like, super high in the air. It was just, like, one jump height, one character height up in the air to get above Stingray, and he perfectly fast fell that neutral air down so he could get Raydish at that height.
And that's kind of challenging to do, honestly. That dash jump, fast fall in there, but some solid strings coming out from Stingray. Doesn't get him with that gravity cancel side light.
Oh, I was expecting 2 nairs and then a recovery. That's usually what you see from a lot of Orb players, especially given how damaged Stingray was. That's the dodge gone. Raydish is right there over the corner.
Yeah, it was he saw the movement coming out from Stingray and was like, well, you're going straight to the wall. There's really not a lot you can do here, and catches him on the head with that ground pound. Solid split in damage. You saw Stingray's weapons for a hot moment there. It was about 270 to 240. I think it was like relatively even between the two of them.
Yeah, you're right. It was 277 on the spear and 254 on the cannon. I love the SpongeBob GG that he threw out at the end. It's very like troll. It's like a super like
it's a little cheeky.
It's a very like Weenie Hut Jr. face that SpongeBob is making. So it's a super troll like get in your head silly taunt at the end of the game in the lobby once you've gotten the victory. Raydish already starting this one very aerially, touching the ground just for a moment before jumping 1-2 jump heights up. Second he lands there. Stingray's ready, fading back, hits the onstage ground pound.
The movement to do that as well, that was like a dodge back, jump, ground pound. Raydish though, staying vertical, nice weapon toss. Stingray does get the wall touch, he's gonna get back up safely, and now it's Stingray's turn to try to put some damage out.
That's the interesting thing about that edge guard from Raydish is like, yeah, he got a lot of hits, but the thing Stingray did was he wasn't jumping after every single hit. He was making sure that even though he took a lot of damage, he took a lot of punishment there, he had enough movement options to get back because he was already ahead in the damage. You see where he is right now. He's towards the maybe midway through orange, but he had Raydish in the red, so all he had to do was survive that encounter. He didn't have to turn the edge guard around. He didn't have to find the stock. He just had to survive, get back, and continue playing that on-stage neutral that's so successful because you see him on the edge, and he's starting to get work, just like he did in the beginning of the stock and just like he did at the end of the stock.
Yeah, Raydish's offstage boots looking really good, but like you said, Stingray did a really good job not panicking in that offstage moment, but this time, Raydish got that KO. Stingray's coming in with the cannon. He did really well with it on the first stock.
He's just straight up retreating away from Raydish. Raydish pushed him all the way to the edge of the right side. Now he's starting to bring the pressure back, using the GC to continue with that side air, or side light, excuse me.
I love these micro adjustments coming out from Stingray. He went for like double nair earlier. This time he went for nair and then GC side light, catching different movement. Now it's over to the spear. No pogo. Raydish gets past him.
I do love the onstage ground pounds that Stingray has been doing. Doesn't quite have the reach with that side signature. Raydish completely overspaced that one. Wasn't too worried about it making a contact. He's pushing him over to the edge. Is Raydish going to take the second stock? Or is Stingray going to grab it first with the recovery? That's enough off the top.
Yeah, he will get that KO with that spear recovery. Back to the cannon. Stingray really liking this 7 cannon.
Ooh,
avoids it. No punish, though.
And you see just like a major difference between Raydish's signature like that travels him across the stage. You see how much distance he can cover with it compared to Stingray's side signature. That's like maybe a third of the stage from beginning to end.
Yeah, it definitely moves a little bit slower, and also at the very end of it, it kind of locks you down because you do that blast. But chase dodge up recovery is going to KO from Stingray.
Wow.
Caught the movement of Raydish going high, and Stingray going to close out game number 2.
Now, you mentioned first game, the damage split was reasonably even between the two. They were less than 50 damage apart. That game was a cannon game that you also pointed out. He was mostly focused on that cannon, 453 damage compared to the 37 on spear and 16 on unarmed. We have a very long wedge on the graph, too. Maybe we get a chance to see the graph, but probably not. We're going to be moving into this next game. I'll describe the graph to you.
I'll subscribe to your graph descriptions.
Okay, I appreciate that. It is basically Stingray surviving the first like 60% of the match on that first stock before finally losing it. So his survivability there was great. There are some long flat lines, meaning that he's not taking damage in those moments.
Well, we'll see if he can manage the same thing here in game number 3. Once again, they're both sticking with their legend picks. Falling nair coming out from Raydish, looking for a couple more nairs, but Stingray has nairs of his own.
You see that dash forward jump into the fade away back into the other direction. He does that so much.
It's so different from like the dash landing style that we're used to see. Oh, he dodged that direction, and now he's going to pay for it. The slide charge down heavy coming out from Raydish.
Juggling the weapons to delay the weapon spawn, keeping Stingray weapons starved. Here comes. He wasn't able to grab it in time. It wasn't active by the time he moved through it. Now he's able to get over to it. It's going to be that cannon. There's the side air to start things off, and the grab out so high in the air.
That was what I was waiting for from Stingray's cannon. Everyone's talked about how Stingray's putting out all this media out there to teach people how to play. Cannon ground pound was the thing that I saw from his YouTube shorts.
Look at that movement.
Another ground pound.
Just jumping, kind of turning left and right, not like fading that direction very much, but jumping just so he's ready. The hands are moving. If he needs to make a split-second reaction, he's ready to do that, whether it's defensive, whether it's offensive, whether it's just a simple spot dodge in the moment to change up that pacing. On-stage ground pound does get punished this time by the neutral light from Raydish. There's the side air. Going high, the recovery goes through, but Stingray has the dodge just in time to get through it.
Nice nair coming out from Stingray. Built up sizable damage here. Raydish not able to punish that gravity cancel neutral sig. Downlight nair once again. Stingray gonna get another stock.
Gonna juggle these cannons. This is the more damaged cannon. That means he is more likely to get disarmed when he gets hit by this one compared to the other one. So it's an interesting choice for him to make. He made the meaningful decision to opt for that, maybe delay the weapon spawn a little bit longer and not worry about the health of the weapon. So his priorities were with delaying that spawn.
Speaking of priority, he actually beat out the startup of the orb side sig coming out from Raydish with his cannon neutralite. That little bit of a blast was enough to stop that one. Ground pound. Oh, the recovery will connect, gives him the chase dodge. Tried to lock him down with that neutral air, maybe hoping for that cannon to come down, bonk him for that extra damage.
Is he going to go for a D-Light? Had plenty of time to react to that one. The Stingray missile crisis surface to air, making contact, setting up for Stingray to close out the game.
Big Fista coming out here. He slide charges it, puts out this wall of wrist and catches Raydish and then chases after with the neutral air. Really well done from Stingray. And now he's, what, one game away from going to the grand finals?
Look at that, dashing off the platform so you get that forward motion so you can chase after your opponent, then going up to the soft platform and chasing further high into the air to hit the neutral air. Why does a fire robot have a fire-doing device?
You know how, you've never heard the phrase, fight fire with fire?
That's a good, silly answer, but then I also just realized they do controlled burns.
Yeah, controlled burns
like
exist.
Safe burns on
when there's too much burnable material that's kind of accumulated. You want to do a controlled burn so that it doesn't over.
3, 2.
Oh, there was a fire graph there, but like we learned about firefighting in the same moment. So
you learn a lot of things when we're on the block. But we got one more game potentially here, as it's Stingray up 2-1 over Raydish.
Now, we're on Demon Island, so we're not going to have that soft platform for extension into the air that helped Stingray get that final KO at the end of last game. But you saw already, Raydish doesn't seem to need it. He's able to chase Stingray very high into the air, straight vertically up with those neutral airs, chasing with those recoveries right after him. Okay, the string potential from Stingray. Can he keep it going? Landing with the down air. Sidelight just barely missing, but he gets behind Raydish. The missile coming out.
Unfortunately, the slide charge kind of made him fall a little too low there, but Raydish gets disarmed by the ground pound. Stingray, immediate weapon denial, no panic jump, so Raydish going to stay underneath that downlight.
Over to the edge, Raydish chasing just a little bit before going back. The simple punish from Stingray to get through. Raydish thought he was going to go back over to that wall to touch his jumps there, but no, he went straight through, back to the main platform, hit that turnaround side air, gets the KO, and a little bit of a lead here when he's already up 2-1 in this set. The D-Light into wait to turn around down air, but this side air is likely going to... No, he's still in this dude.
Demon Island, relatively large KO box, and Stingray on this cannon has plenty of horizontal movement. What was that, Raydish? He just gave him a free pass onto the stage and some extra damage with it.
I'm trying to think in what world that was really like a smart decision there, because it locked him in place for long enough. You know Stingray is someone who has amazing reaction time, so if he's over on that wall, he's already riding it pretty high because it's a small wall, so he's able to get over the wall, and he has the side air to punish you with movement. So, like, I don't even know if it was really, like, possible for Stingray to be in the area of that neutral sig, but regardless, it doesn't seem to shake Raydish too much. He ends up cleaning that stock up, and we're relatively even. He's about 50 damage behind. There is a weapon spawn on the field, and Stingray is able to grab it instantly without taking any damage.
The boots, neutral line, helping Raydish get that stock. Stingray coming down here has yet to swap over to fire mode in this setup against Raydish. So far, it's all about that lightning, but really, it's more about that cannon.
Light into the side air. Again, Stingray remaining high, not going over onto that side wall. Now swapping back over to the cannon, completely overspacing all of this. You see him jumping in, jumping out.
Ooh, the dodge through, but he doesn't hit the nair.
That was actually a sick dodge through, and I really like the attempt to go for that nair. He just happened to do it in the wrong direction. That was like a sick dodge into attempted punish.
Yeah, that would have been so cool. Just slightly off the mark with it. Does hit it down air onto Raydish once again. He's finding these little taps where he can. Goes for the read, but Raydish dodging directly out. Oh, the dodge from Stingray.
And the spear signatures, nice side air, flowing from his spear into his cannon. Now back over to the spear. The spear signatures are like non-existent for Stingray. It's like all the cannon down sig, and that's about it.
Yeah, he's really been keeping it close to the chest with his sig usage. The spear still active there. Raydish not able to get anything. Downlight recovery will KO.
Now swapping back over to the orb, gonna give him that 45-degree angle. You see him initially moving in with that down air. Just pure movement.
I appreciate the onomatopoeia. If the game sounds ever die, we got you here on the block just in case.
They don't know about the Sparky voice pack that was modded into the game like years and years and years ago by Foda before he worked at BMG.
Okay, starting to get some connections here. Raydish with that side air. Downline, not able to get a follow-up there. Nice nair into the side air. Okay, over to the spear now.
Okay, Raydish starting to bring the pressure. Raydish in the lead. Neutral lights the wrong direction. Does get hit by a single dare. Nothing huge.
Who's going to make the attack first? Raydish hits a nair, but nothing else. Sidelight side air. STINGRAY. He's in trouble out in open air, but Raydish just wants the corner.
Ooh, those exclamation points are scaring me,
He touched. He got his feet on the floor. Exclamation points get reset, but Raydish really holding it in. There's the side sig, there's the punish. STINGRAY.
What a wild choice for STINGRAY to go for. We talked about it earlier. It doesn't cover that much ground that quickly. So it started off with a simple punish for Raydish. He ends up taking the game. And again, like you said earlier, so many game 5s today. And we're having yet another one here as we push in past game 4 with that victory from Raydish.
Yeah, one more game here because, of course, it is all about the best of 5.
That's true.
Only one person can go into the grand finals between the two of them right here, right now. Neither of them swapping up their characters.
3, 2.
Spawning back into this one. We are not going back to Fortress of Lions that we saw the game before last game. We're sticking with Demon Island here, throwing away those soft platforms. That seems to be a consistent thing that both of these players are okay with.
Raydish coming in, dash forward, down signature, catches that dodge up from STINGRAY. STINGRAY really not finding any rebuttals here as the neutral light, and again, dash forward, down signature, another neutral
this
light.
is looking bad, Duke.
He's finding his footing, goes for a dare there, weapon toss STINGRAY, running out of movement, but the nair.
Raydish just pulled the trigger on that a little bit too early. He got a little bit too hasty, which is unfortunate. He still seems to have the momentum on his side and the confidence on his side. He also has power position here because he's the main one on the platform. STINGRAY has spent this entire game recovering back to the stage. He is not allowed to step foot on the main stage.
Oh, and Raydish gonna catch him. Just peeking his head a little too high. Downlight recovery. Raydish in great position to go to the grand finals. Light once again into the down sig. Gets him off stage, but he reads wrong.
And he just instantly gets punished for that side light. And he's getting punished for everything.
Have you met my friend Down Signature? It brings all of my Raptor friends to the party.
Dude,
another down sig.
He's hitting down sig on STINGRAY like STINGRAY hits Orion down sig on people with the bonk on the head on the weapon toss. Now 2 stocks up. Raydish is looking to close this one out here and move on into the grand finals.
Raydish spent 4 games playing Orb and 1 game 3 stocking with boots. That's basically what is happening, but STINGRAY denies the 3 stock as Cannon starts to come alive.
Good answer back there from STINGRAY. Showing he still has something there. He hasn't given everything just yet. He's not willing to give up as he gets hit by yet another down signature.
Watch the end sig read on the mix-up as STINGRAY starts to finally react to the down sig. Just wait for it. Oh, okay, wait, STINGRAY. Oh, neutral light misses. STINGRAY's gonna get a punish. Side stick thrown out there. Raydish gets caught by the downlight nair. Not quite enough. The recovery. STINGRAY brings it back.
Okay, don't count him out yet. That was a cute little jump after the signature. That little jump to get over Raydish as he was landing and then turn around to set up for the KO.
The onslaught of dares, though. Raydish playing that range game.
And this is that orb dare gameplay that I was talking about a lot with PJ yesterday that we really weren't seeing from the orb players in EU.
Oh.
You're seeing it from Raydish here as he's juggling STINGRAY.
Oh.
The attempt, almost!
His feet were on the ground, but the weapon toss connects, and Raydish closes it out in game number 5. Raydish is going to the grand.